G'day and welcome to ReDriven. Now look, when it comes to luxury sedans this size, the Lexus IS is commonly overlooked for the likes of the BMW 3 Series, the Mercedes C-Class and the Audi A4. Now this is down to a lot of different factors, but many people out there seem to think that the European brands offer a more exclusive image than what Lexus does. But the thing is, the BMW 3 Series, the Mercedes C-Class and the Audi A4 have all outsold the Lexus IS since this thing came out. So surely that equates to the fact that the Lexus IS is the far more exclusive of the group. But just because there are less of these things on Aussie roads than the more common European alternatives, that doesn't mean these are actually any good. Actually, maybe they're just a bit crap. Maybe that's why people aren't buying them. So, what exactly does go wrong with them? What do they cost to own and operate? What do they like to live with on a daily basis? And most importantly, should you buy one? Let's find out. Now first up, a massive shout out to everybody at Cars24 for supporting this video by supplying us with this car. At Cars24, you can buy your car online, have it delivered to your door, exactly the same way that I had this car delivered to me. And if you don't like it, within 7 days, you can just send it straight back. It's like the ultimate test drive. Now, back to the Lexus. Now, I should mention that in this video, we're going to be focusing on the Australian variants of the 3rd generation Lexus IS. But if you're not from Australia, don't fret, don't panic, because everything we're going to be going over should relate to Lexus IS models in your local market. Also, to keep this video as objective as we possibly could, we've reached out to multiple Lexus and IS owners groups. We've spoken to Lexus specialist technicians. We've trawled through hours of customer surveys and reliability reports. So this video is basically the culmination of all of that information. Now this generation Lexus IS has been with us since 2013. It's been available here in Australia in primarily 4 different models across 3 different trim variants, plus there's been a couple of special editions thrown in for good measure. It's also received a whole bunch of different updates during the life cycle. But for more of a thorough overview, here's me doing a voiceover. So, let's start with the variants, which are all defined by their powertrain. From 2013, you could have your IS as a 250 with a 2.5 litre V6, a 350 with a 3.5 litre V6, or as the hybrid offering, the 300H, which comes equipped with a 2.5 litre 4-cylinder engine and an electric motor. Then as of 2015, the 250 was dropped, being replaced by the 200T with its 2 litre turbocharged 4-cylinder engine. However, as of 2017, the IS 200T was renamed and became this car, the IS 300. Then all of these variants are available across 3 model grades: the base spec luxury, the slightly spicier F Sport, and the top spec sports luxury. Now, let's talk updates, the first of which occurred in 2016, with the car receiving new headlight and taillight designs, as well as a new front bumper and bonnet, and included some interior styling and tech updates as well. 2017 saw another update for the 2018 year model, with a power boost to the V6 engines, while as we mentioned, the IS 200T received a permanent name change to the IS 300, while a variety of other tech and a few mechanical improvements were also applied. However, the really big changes occurred in 2020. The IS received a plethora of updates, including a complete refresh to the exterior styling. New infotainment tech such as Apple CarPlay and Android Auto would now be fitted as standard, as well as improvements and additions to the driving and safety tech being implemented across the range. The car's handling and overall dynamics were overhauled and improved, with heavily revised suspension components and a more refined chassis tune. Finally, a fire-breathing IS 500 F Sport performance was introduced to the range in 2021. However, this 5-litre V8-powered IS was and is exclusive to the North American market. And that's something I will never ever forgive Lexus for. Anyway, look, we'd love to go over every graphic detail of every update and specification and all that, but we'd just be here for hours and hours and it would get really boring. The thing is, we have gathered all of that information and we've put it in our incredibly handy and completely free ReDriven cheat sheets. Our cheat sheets are invaluable as they provide a full breakdown of the car's model range, its common problems, what you need to look out for before handing over your hard-earned cash, how much of that cash you should be handing over, and so much more. Check it out at redriven.com or in the link below. Now look, if you are already a Lexus IS expert or you own one of the many variants of Lexus IS and you've noticed that we've missed something huge in this video, please let us know in those comments. Obviously we're doing the best we can to cover as much as we can, but yeah, if we've missed something, let us know in the comments. Okay, so how's the exterior? Personally, I love these. I especially love the post-2020 updated versions, and especially any of them that have the sexy TRD parts bolted to it. Like, how gorgeous is this thing? But like, what do you guys think of the design? We found that this new kind of Lexus design language of the last few years is really polarizing. Some people love it, some people hate it. Let us know in the comments. Do you like the way the Lexus looks? One criticism that I personally have with these is I feel like they're really reliant on their wheels. Like, this is on the smaller 17-inch luxury wheel, and for me it just feels a bit underwheeled. It looks a bit gawky and geeky. The minute you fit like the larger F Sport wheels or the sport luxury wheels, changes the car completely. All reliant on the wheels. Now, in terms of what to watch out for if you're in the market for one of these things, look, normally we'd say look for accident damage and any signs of dodgy repair work, but the thing is, Lexuses are generally owned by more mature and sensible people. So on the off chance that it may have had an accident, chances are it's been repaired under insurance and probably to the highest possible quality. Nevertheless, make sure you go over the entire car and make sure that all the panel gaps match, make sure that the paint matches both in color and texture. Most importantly, pop the bonnet and get under the wheel arches, look under the bonnet and look in all the air vents for any signs of paint overspray. If there's paint overspray on a Lexus IS, don't buy that Lexus IS. However, even though most Lexuses are owned by more mature drivers, that doesn't mean that they're better drivers or, more importantly, parkers. So make sure you check all of the wheels for any signs of gutter rash and any damage. A little bit of light gutter rash here and there is completely fine, but any big gouges out of the wheels or the tires, not a good sign. Now, we'll get to what common faults and problems that these things suffer from in a little bit. So how's the interior? Well, look, from a design aspect, personally, I love this interior. I've had this car for a little while now and I fall more in love with it all the time. Even though this is the base spec luxury, it still feels special. The ergonomics are absolutely spot on. There's heaps of adjustability in the seat, in the steering wheel. This is not in my position. It slides away when you turn the car off, which is nice. But all the little details, like I'm here, there's this like, I don't know what this is, like a brushed aluminium finish. It just feels special. It goes the same across here. One thing I have to give Lexus a massive shout out for, you know how most manufacturers are going for like piano black plastic around here and it gets scratched up and looks terrible. Looks great when it's new, looks great in pictures, but after a year it looks shocking. This is like a slight metallic satin finish. So even after years, it still looks fantastic. The little details as well, in this brushed finish up here, they've like just laser etched out the icons up here. So it doesn't, when the car's off, you can't even tell, but when it all lights up, yeah, just you know, attention to detail in here is incredible. The fit and finish is superb. Now, seat comfort, these are the base model seats and they're super, super comfortable. The sportier seats, like in the F Sport and the other models, unbelievably good, but even in base model, this is great. Wear and tear wise, look, this car has a few Ks on it. It's quite a few years old, but honestly, you'd never tell. You can tell it's not a brand spanking new car, but like all the leather feels really plush. The steering wheel hasn't gone all glossy. The seats, they haven't gone all glossy either. Even the bolsters, they're in great shape. Up here, all the squidginess, great levels of squidge, but it's not falling apart at all. It feels, not new, but pretty bloody close to it. Even all the buttons and controls feel fantastic. These feel great. I'm always on about, I don't like touch screens as much as buttons. On the temperature control, it's neither. It's not a button, but it's not a touch screen, but this is weirdly instantly intuitive when you want to change temperature. That's fantastic. Even down here, like this cops a lot of criticism from car journos when these were new, this like little, it's not a trackpad, it's not a mouse, I don't know what it is. Yeah, I've got to admit, when you first get the car, this is a bit of a nightmare, but after a few days, it again weirdly becomes intuitive. I also like the fact that when it's adjusted away and when you turn the car off, it like snaps back into position. But yeah, honestly, I'm kind of sold on the interior, love it. Okay, in the back seat, I'm exactly 11 centimeters taller than famous Lexus owner and fiscally responsible computer nerd Bill Gates. This is in my driving position, and space-wise, pretty good. I mean, these are only just touching the back of the seat. There's not a whole lot of footroom, but it's okay. It's a pretty comfy seat as well. Like the leather and the actual comfort-wise is feeling really nice. Wear and tear-wise, bloody perfect. Like it feels like a new car, honestly. The leather feels great. The door cards here, there's not as much squidge as I'd like maybe, but it feels really nice. I should say, but the transmission tunnel is bloody huge. So for those sitting in the back seat, there's going to be a full leg spread situation, unfortunately. Maybe not unfortunately, but Okay, so how's the tech? Well, look, the levels of tech are going to vary enormously both on the year and the trim spec of the car. But to give you an overview, here's me doing another voiceover. Even early base spec Lexus IS will have heated and cooled front seats, dual zone climate control with rear air conditioning, keyless entry, a rear vision camera, LED daytime running lights, USB ports, voice control, Bluetooth phone and audio connectivity, as well as digital radio and an 8-speaker stereo. Plus an 8-inch multi-function display screen, which was actually increased to 10.3 inches from 2016, a CD and DVD player, in case you want to travel back in time, cruise control if you want to travel forward in time but at a predetermined speed, satellite navigation in case you want to get lost in time, and a touch-sensitive Lexus remote touch controller. Apple CarPlay and Android Auto were included as standard from 2020, and other tech, obviously depending on the year and the model, can include a phenomenally good 15-speaker Mark Levinson sound system, LED headlights, an LFA-style 8-inch driver's LCD instrumentation cluster, and a customizable and assignable mode in the Drive Mode Select system. For all the specifics of which Lexus IS gets what levels of tech, just jump on ReDriven.com and check out that cheat sheet, or click on the link in the description below. So, is it practical? Well, in the boot, look, it's quite deep and it's quite spacious back here, but the gap here isn't very big. So if you want to get like a ReDriven presenter in and out, it's a bit squishy. Practicality in the back seat, you've got 2 pockets back here for your ReDriven Lexus IS script. They both go in there or over there. You've got air vents down here. There's no cup holders down here in the doors. Probably a good thing with your legs up against that, but there are 2 cup holders in the armrest which pop out almost like transformers. Look at that, pretty cool. And practicality up front, you've got a spot down here which is specifically for your phone because there are USB points and a 3.5-inch auxiliary input. There are 2 cup holders here that will fit a bottle really nicely. There's another cup holder or bottle holder down here, as well as a space for stuff. There's a spot to collect life's filth just here, but what's great, Lexus have designed it so it's kind of like curvy, so it's really easy to clean out, unlike the ones that are a bit more like a little tiny box. Good thinking, Lexus. Also, there's another spot, technically it's not a spot for your phone, but I have found that your phone does sit quite nicely up there, but if you get enthusiastic with cornering, it does slide around a bit. And that's about it, I think. There's nothing down there, nothing under the seats. That's it for practicality. Oh, glove box, which is opened by the push of a button. Pretty small glove box, but. There are a few sporadic reports that the door lock actuators can play up and fail to lock and unlock. When I say a few sporadic, yeah, not common at all. We're talking a small handful of reports. There are a few reports that the brakes can produce an annoying amount of brake dust, especially on the F Sport models. But that's not really a problem. It's more of just a first world annoyance, really. Okay, common problems inside. There are a few reports that the interior can get a little bit rattly and squeaky, especially on ISs that have spent the majority of their lives on rough roads and ones that have a lot of kilometers on them. If this has any rattles, we'll tell you in a sec when we get to driving it. Also, there are, again, sporadic reports of the air conditioning just slowly getting worse and worse. This can be a whole bunch of different things. Worst case scenario, it's a compressor failure. If you're in the market to buy one of these, go and take it for a test drive and check out the air conditioning over a long period of time. I'm not talking like 3 months, I'm talking like 10 to 15 minutes. If it stops cooling after 15 minutes, then it could get expensive. Might not be, but get it checked out. Now, before we get into mechanically what can go wrong with these things, I've got to ask a favor. Can you hit those like, subscribe and bell buttons and share ReDriven if you're enjoying this video and if you're enjoying ReDriven? The only way we can keep making these videos is with your support by hitting those buttons and sharing ReDriven. That showing support means we can keep making videos. That'd be awesome. Now, mechanically, what goes wrong with these? Well, the funny thing is, I'm not a mechanic, so I'm not qualified to tell you, but Jim is.
In terms of what goes wrong with these, with all the research we've done, basically, there really isn't any serious major problems. The 4-cylinder 8AR FXE is a relatively newish engine for Lexus, and like a lot of modern power plants, it's very complicated. It's got a very compact and sophisticated valve train and balance shaft setup. It's got not one like most engines, and not two like some engines, but 3 thermostats. It's got on-demand oil cooling for the pistons. Now, all this stuff is pretty cool. Unnecessarily complicated? Yeah, probably, but Lexus brings it all together and they're actually super reliable. And the 6-cylinder 2GR, nothing to do with Gazoo Racing by the way, has been around for years. This latest version is more complex than the early ones, but again, bloody reliable. And as for the hybrid, Lexus, has done a pretty good job there with no serious common problems. Although typically anything from Lexus has a fairly high threshold for neglect, unlike some other manufacturers. And yeah, I'm looking in your direction, Euro. All this complexity means regular servicing is a must. And if you keep on top of the services, it will most certainly outlast its European competitors.
Also, we should mention that because this is a Cars 24 car, it comes with a 6-month warranty, 6 months worth of roadside assistance, and it comes with a 300-point mechanical check for ultimate peace of mind. Is it safe? Well, look, the IS received a full 5-star NCAP safety rating from its launch and all the way through its entire model evolution. So yeah, technically it is safe. But to give you an idea of what safety tech it does come with, here's me doing another voiceover, but this time I'm going to do it as fast as I possibly can. Standard safety features on the IS include 10 airbags, ABS, electronic brake force distribution, electronic stability control, seatbelt load limiters and pre-tensioners, traction controller, hill holder and parking assist. However, later and higher spec ISs can include Lexus Safety System Plus that features autonomous emergency braking, adaptive cruise control, lane departure warning, automatic high beam, clearance and reversing sonar, a reversing camera and a pop-up bonnet to minimise injuries to pedestrians. For all of the details of which IS receives what safety tech, just jump on ReDriven.com and check out that cheat sheet. Okay, so what's it like to drive? Well, look, I've been lucky enough to drive an IS 350 F Sport a bunch of times, and I've got to say that is one of the most underrated sedans out there. Getting this part, the IS 300 in base spec luxury, I was kind of expecting to be really underwhelmed. How wrong was I? This thing, after a few years and well over 50,000 Ks, is bloody great. Around town, the car's quiet and comfortable. The suspension, it's a little bit on the firm side, but in saying that, it just feels planted to the road all the time. Plus, apparently, if you have a proper go through some corners, apparently the suspension just hunkers down and apparently gives you even more confidence. Apparently. So I've heard. Wouldn't know from experience at all. Engine-wise, look, it's not crazy fast by any means, but it's not trying to be a performance car, but it's smooth and responsive. Really nice. Like, the engine is great for what this car's trying to do. The transmission is still seamless, really smooth, really fast to respond. Even the steering, like there's not heaps of feel, but it's nice and responsive. It's lovely to use. Even around town, it just makes the car easier to maneuver in really tight spots and then get through some corners like this. Really enjoyable. Now, there are a few reports that owners are hearing some rattles and squeaks, but in this particular car, nothing. It's silent. Negatives, look, I wish the engine sounded a bit, I don't know, fruitier. That'd be nice. And I do kind of wish it was an IS 350 F Sport again, but maybe that's just me. Pricing here in Australia kicks off from around about $24,000 for like an early spec, super high kilometre base model IS, and tops out in the mid $80,000, sometimes even high $80,000 range for like a 2021 top spec edition in mint condition. Something like this, a 2019 IS 300 luxury in excellent condition, going to be looking currently around the mid $40,000 range. And for pricing elsewhere on this huge globe of ours, here's a graphic. Lexus claim a fuel consumption figure of anywhere from 4.9 to 9.5 litres per 100 kilometres, obviously depending on engine spec variant, if it's a hybrid or not. This particular Lexus IS 300 is claimed at 7.5 litres per 100 Ks, but we're seeing 9.1, but I do have a pretty heavy right foot. Lexus offered a 4-year, 100,000 kilometre warranty on all ISs, which means some of these still have some factory support left on them, which is awesome, and servicing is recommended at every 12 months or 15,000 Ks. Okay, so should you buy one? Well, look, if you're in the market for a sedan wearing a premium badge, we understand the attraction to European brands over the Lexus. The likes of Audi, BMW and Mercedes come with brand identities that have taken decades and billions of dollars worth of marketing to build. However, while much of the Euro competition, look, when brand new and covered under a full warranty, are generally truly wonderful, quite a few of them, when used and out of warranty, commonly don't live up to the hype and reputation that their marketing departments have worked so hard to build. But funnily enough, this is where Lexus have failed, but they've also won. See, Lexus have, in general, really dropped the ball when it comes to marketing and selling their cars as the cool option. And apologies to our more mature viewers out there, but the fact that the average age of a Lexus owner is over 55, it just shows that the brand isn't resonating with a younger audience. But as we've seen with this base model IS, this thing is easily as good as the Audi A4 that we reviewed recently. Even in terms of purely fit, finish and quality, the IS more than matches the Audi S5, the BMW M3 and, dare we say it, even the Mercedes-Benz S-Class that we've reviewed. Add to that the fact that the Lexus is showing superb reliability and longevity, and Lexus as a brand generally tends to retain its value on the used market. Plus, especially in IS 350 F Sport trim, it's a genuinely enjoyable thing to drive. The IS is the intelligent used car choice in this category. But the thing is, buying a car isn't always just about intelligent choices. Like, your heart and your emotions make the decision just as much. And to many, a Lexus is just always going to be a fancy Toyota, even though it's so much more than that. Now guys, again, a massive shout out to everybody at Cars24 for supporting this video and supplying this car. We appreciate it so, so much. Remember guys, if you're in the market for a used car, check out Cars24. The link is in the description below. And finally, what did you think of the video? What did you think of the Lexus IS? Let us know in those comments. And remember, please hit those like, subscribe and bell buttons and share ReDriven as much as you can, because the more you do of all that, the more you share the video, the more of these videos we can make. And we'd love to keep making these videos. See you guys next time.
On-demand oil cooling. Sorry. The four-cylinder 8AR FXE is a... hell. In terms of... Good start. It's got on-demand oil cooling for the pistons, which is kind of cool, but... Oh, battery!
And it's been through a bunch of different updates through its life cycle. It's been available on a whole... Start again. Okay. For all the specifics. Now, before we get into mechanically what can go wrong. Now, before we get into mechanically what these can suffer from, mechanically what problems. Okay.